Hello? Welcome to a story that is all about improving your English listening skills through practice. If you've ever felt frustrated when you couldn't understand native speakers, missed important details in conversations, or struggled to follow movies, podcasts, or lectures in English, this story is for you. It will take you on a journey with someone just like you, exploring challenges, techniques, and small victories that turn listening from a struggle into a skill. Meet Alex, a young professional who, like many English learners, knew a lot of grammar, could write essays and emails perfectly, but found listening, especially real, fast conversations, overwhelming and intimidating. Every time Alex watched a TV show or attended a meeting in English, it felt like a blur of sounds, with only a few words landing clearly. But Alex was determined to improve. Over the course of this story, you will follow Alex through 10 stages of learning to listen actively, understand more, and respond naturally. From the first timid steps of listening to slow, simple English, to confidently understanding complex conversations, podcasts, and even slang, Alex's journey will show practical strategies, mistakes, breakthroughs, and real-life practice. We'll see how Alex discovers the power of active listening techniques, like focusing on keywords, guessing meaning from context, taking notes, and repeating what is heard. We'll follow Alex as listening becomes not just a classroom exercise, but a daily habit, an adventure full of discovery, challenges, and triumphs. This story is more than a tale about learning English. It's about perseverance, curiosity, and growth, showing that listening, like any other skill, improves gradually with practice, patience, and the willingness to make mistakes. Along the way, you'll see that every small improvement builds confidence, making English listening more natural, enjoyable, and even fun. So, get ready to walk alongside Alex, experiencing the struggles, techniques, and breakthroughs of a learner transforming from someone who struggled to understand English into a person who listens with confidence and clarity. By the end of this journey, you'll not only understand how listening skills develop but also feel inspired to practice actively and consistently in your own life. In the next part, we'll see Alex take the first real step, listening to slow English in a comfortable environment, and realizing the power of small, consistent practice. After deciding to improve his listening skills, Alex knew he had to start somewhere comfortable and low pressure. Home was perfect, a quiet space, familiar surroundings, and no one judging him. He began by listening to slow, clear English, choosing resources designed for learners, podcasts with slow narration, beginner-friendly videos, and simple audiobooks. At first, it was exhausting. Alex noticed that even though he understood most individual words, he struggled to grasp the meaning of entire sentences or conversations. His brain would catch "coffee morning" and "friend," but the rest slipped past him. A key realization came during his first listening session. Listening is not just hearing words, it's processing, predicting, and connecting them. Alex learned to pause, rewind, and replay sentences multiple times. He began writing down keywords, important nouns, verbs, and adjectives, to help him follow the main ideas. One day, while listening to a story about a man visiting a city, Alex paused and wrote, "Man, city, lost, map, ask directions." Suddenly, the narrative made more sense. He wasn't just catching individual words anymore. He was understanding the story's flow. Alex also discovered the power of repetition. Listening to the same clip multiple times helped him notice words and phrases he had missed the first time. He could gradually predict the flow of sentences and even recognize common expressions like, "How's it going?" or "Could you help me?" which previously sounded like a jumble of sounds. Another breakthrough was listening while reading along. Alex found transcripts or subtitles and followed them word by word as he listened. This helped him connect spoken sounds with written words, improving both comprehension and pronunciation. At first, he read too much and didn't focus on listening, but over time, he balanced both, letting his ears lead while his eyes confirmed tricky words. Through these first sessions, Alex realized that progress came not from listening harder, but from listening smarter. Breaking audio into manageable pieces, focusing on keywords, and replaying content made comprehension achievable. Most importantly, he learned that patience and consistent daily practice were far more effective than trying to understand everything at once. By the end of the week, Alex noticed small victories. He could follow short conversations in slow English without rewinding, understood the main ideas in beginner podcasts, and even caught a few phrases in casual English TV shows. These small wins fueled his motivation, proving that improvement was possible with dedication and strategy. Alex's first lesson was clear: listening practice must be consistent, deliberate, and focused on understanding, not perfection. Mistakes were part of the process, and struggling with certain phrases or words wasn't failure. It was a sign that his brain was learning to process English in real time. After several weeks of practicing at home, Alex felt ready to take the next step: listening to English in real life, unpredictable situations. He decided to start small, with a cafe near his apartment that was popular among tourists and locals alike. At first, just stepping inside was intimidating. The sounds of chatter, clinking cups, and background music made his ears feel overwhelmed. Alex realized quickly that listening in real life was much faster and less predictable than slow audio or transcripts at home. He ordered a coffee and chose a small table near the window. While waiting, he listened carefully to conversations around him. People spoke quickly, used contractions like gonna and wanna, and even mixed in slang. At first, most of it sounded like gibberish, but Alex reminded himself, focus on keywords and context, not every single word. A group of students near him caught his attention. He couldn't understand every word, but he noticed repeated phrases. Exam, tomorrow, study, nervous. By focusing on these keywords, he could infer the main idea. They were discussing an upcoming test. Alex realized he was starting to understand meaning without knowing every word, a critical skill in real-life listening. Next, Alex decided to practice active listening by asking simple questions. When the barista called his name, he replied, "Thanks. Could you tell me what's in this drink?" The barista smiled and explained the ingredients. Alex listened carefully, repeating the words in his mind: milk, espresso, syrup, vanilla. By engaging directly, he was training his ears to pick up details while interacting naturally. Another breakthrough came when Alex overheard someone using idiomatic expressions. "I'm feeling under the weather," and "hit the books." At first, these phrases confused him. But he remembered a strategy from his home practice: guess the meaning from context and check later. By observing gestures, tone, and situation, he inferred that one person was sick and the other was studying hard. He jotted down the expressions in a notebook to review later. Alex discovered that real-life listening requires both focus and flexibility. Background noise, overlapping conversations, and accents can make comprehension difficult. But by concentrating on keywords, tone, and body language, he could extract meaning even when the speech was fast or unclear. By the end of the cafe visit, Alex felt accomplished. Though he hadn't understood every conversation, he could now follow the gist, ask questions, and respond appropriately. He realized that listening in real life was like solving a puzzle, combining words, context, and clues to create understanding. That evening, he reflected in his journal. "Today I listened to English in a real cafe. I didn't understand everything, but I got the meaning. Listening is not about perfection, it's about catching the important pieces and connecting them. I feel more confident already." After gaining confidence in cafes and other real-life situations, Alex realized that the next step was listening to fast English, just like native speakers used in movies, TV shows, and podcasts. Unlike slow, learner-friendly resources, this content was quick, filled with slang, idioms, and natural speech patterns. It was intimidating, but Alex knew this challenge was essential for real-world listening skills. He started with a TV show he had already watched in his native language. The familiarity of the story helped him focus on listening rather than comprehension of the plot. At first, he could catch only a few words in each sentence. Phrases like, "What's up?" or "I gotta go," sounded like a blur. Instead of giving up, Alex used a few strategies he had learned. Focus on keywords and context. He stopped trying to understand every word and instead identified the important nouns, verbs, and adjectives in each sentence. For example, in a scene about friends planning a trip, he caught train, tomorrow, meeting, excited. This was enough to understand the gist. Repetition and rewinding. When a line was unclear, he replayed it, gradually catching words he had missed before. Over time, his ears became more attuned to sounds, contractions, and rhythms of natural speech. Listening while reading transcripts. Alex found transcripts for some episodes. He listened and followed along, noting how spoken English differed from written language. This improved his recognition of contractions, reductions, and pronunciation patterns. Guessing meaning from tone and context. Humor, sarcasm, or urgency were often clues that helped him infer meaning. He realized that intonation and facial expressions in video content were powerful tools for understanding, even when words were unclear. Alex also incorporated podcasts. He started with slower ones aimed at English learners, then gradually moved to intermediate podcasts with native speakers. At first, it felt overwhelming. Words came fast, multiple people spoke, and accents varied. But he noticed that listening consistently, even when comprehension was partial, trained his brain to process English more naturally. A breakthrough came during a podcast about travel. Initially, he understood only about 50% of what was said. After a week of consistent listening, he could catch over 70%, recognizing key phrases like book a flight, change of plans, lost luggage, and friendly locals. By predicting words and using context, Alex realized he was thinking in English rather than translating in his head, a major milestone in listening fluency. He also practiced active listening exercises, pausing podcasts and summarizing what he had heard, writing down unknown words and checking them later, predicting what a speaker might say next. These exercises improved both comprehension and retention. Alex discovered that listening skills grow through active engagement, not passive hearing. Simply playing English in the background was not enough. Focused attention, repetition, and reflection were key. By the end of this stage, Alex could follow most conversations in TV shows and podcasts, even when spoken at native speed. He felt energized and proud of his progress. He had trained his ears to hear English naturally, preparing him for more unpredictable, real-world situations. His journal entry summarized his feelings. Listening to fast English is hard, but it's improving. I can catch main ideas, even jokes and idioms. My brain is getting used to the rhythm and speed. Consistent practice works. After weeks of practicing at home and listening to fast English through TV shows and podcasts, Alex realized that the next challenge was live conversations, where he had to not only listen but also respond in real time. Unlike TV or podcasts, people often spoke quickly, interrupted each other, or used informal phrases that weren't in textbooks. His first attempt was with a language exchange partner, Mia, a native English speaker he had met online. They scheduled a 30-minute video call, and Alex felt nervous. Would he be able to understand her? Would he know what to say? When the call started, Mia greeted him warmly. "Hey Alex! How's your week going?" Alex hesitated for a fraction of a second, then replied, "Hi Mia! My week is good, busy but good. And yours?" Mia smiled. "Busy too. I just started a new project at work. It's exciting but challenging." Alex listened carefully. At first, her words flowed fast, and he could catch only pieces: new project, exciting, challenging. He remembered a key strategy: focus on keywords and context, not every word. By doing so, he understood the gist and could respond. "That sounds interesting. What kind of project is it?" Mia explained further, mentioning details he didn't fully understand. Instead of panicking, Alex used active listening strategies. Ask for clarification. "Sorry, can you repeat the last part? I didn't catch the process part." Paraphrase. "So, you're designing a new system for your team?" Confirm understanding. "Okay, I understand now." This approach allowed him to keep the conversation flowing, even when he missed some details. By actively engaging, Alex realized that listening in live conversations is interactive, not passive. You don't need to understand every word, just enough to respond and maintain connection. Later, he joined a small group chat during a virtual English meetup. 3 people spoke at once, making it challenging to follow. At first, he felt overwhelmed. But he noticed that he could pick out individual voices and keywords, then focus on one speaker at a time. He also used body language and tone to understand emotions and intent, which helped him interpret meaning even when words were unclear. A breakthrough moment came when one participant joked, "I was running late, but better late than never, right?" Alex didn't understand every word at first, but he recognized the tone and context of humor. He laughed and replied appropriately, realizing that listening also involves understanding social cues, humor, and emotion. By the end of the session, Alex felt exhilarated. Live conversations were difficult, but he discovered that active listening, asking questions, and confirming understanding were powerful tools. His confidence soared, and he felt capable of joining real-life discussions, meetings, or casual chats without fear. That evening, he reflected in his journal. "Live conversations are fast and unpredictable, but I can follow if I focus on keywords, context, and social cues. Asking questions is okay. I feel more confident listening and responding in real time." Alex's journey had moved from passive listening at home to understanding real conversations in the moment. The next stage would take him outside structured environments, into noisy streets, public transportation, and other unpredictable spaces where English is spoken naturally. After gaining confidence in structured settings and live conversations, Alex realized that real-world listening often happens in noisy, unpredictable environments. Cafes, public transportation, markets, and busy streets all presented challenges he hadn't fully faced before. Sounds overlapped, speakers interrupted each other, and accents varied. Alex decided to start with a simple exercise, listening while commuting. On the bus, he put on earbuds and played a short English podcast. At first, the chatter of passengers and engine noise made comprehension difficult. Words blurred together, and he struggled to catch even key phrases. He quickly realized that active focus is essential in noisy spaces. He experimented with several strategies. Concentration on the speaker's voice. Alex trained his brain to filter background noise, tuning into the podcast or conversation, while letting ambient sounds fade into the background. Listening for keywords and context. Instead of trying to hear every word, he focused on the main nouns, verbs, and adjectives to grasp the gist. Repetition in short bursts. He paused and rewound podcasts whenever needed, gradually improving comprehension despite the noise. Later, Alex tried listening in a busy cafe. He sat near a table where 2 native speakers were chatting. At first, he caught only fragments: coffee, meeting, tomorrow, train. But by observing gestures, tone, and context, he began to reconstruct the conversation. He realized that nonverbal cues are as important as words in understanding meaning. A key breakthrough occurred when Alex practiced shadowing in noisy environments. He repeated what he heard, even if only partially, trying to match the rhythm and intonation of native speakers. This improved both listening comprehension and pronunciation simultaneously. Another strategy Alex used was predicting what might be said next. In familiar scenarios, like ordering food or asking for directions, he anticipated likely responses. This mental preparation allowed him to catch key details more easily, even amid background noise. By the end of several weeks practicing in noisy environments, Alex noticed significant improvement. He could follow conversations on public transport, understand announcements, and even join group discussions in lively settings. Noise no longer intimidated him, it was simply another layer of listening practice. His journal entry summed up the lesson. Noisy environments are challenging, but I can still understand by focusing on keywords, gestures, and context. I don't need to hear every word, just enough to follow the conversation. Listening in real life is a skill I can train. Alex had now mastered the ability to listen actively, adapt, and comprehend in almost any situation. The next stage of his journey would challenge him further, understanding different accents and fast-paced regional speech, which often required even more attention and flexible strategies. By this stage of his journey, Alex was confident in structured listening, live conversations, and noisy environments. However, he soon realized a new challenge. English accents vary widely, and understanding unfamiliar accents required new strategies. Alex began by exposing himself to different regional accents through videos, podcasts, and TV shows. British accents, for instance, sounded quite different from the American English he was used to. Words were pronounced differently, syllables were dropped, and intonation patterns varied. Initially, he struggled to understand even simple phrases. His first breakthrough came with a British cooking show. The host spoke quickly, with a strong regional accent. Alex tried to follow along, catching only a few words like chop, pan, and add. He paused the video, rewound, and listened again. Slowly, he noticed patterns. Certain sounds were softened, some vowels were shortened, and the rhythm of sentences was different from what he had learned. Alex used several strategies to improve. Listening to the same content multiple times. Repetition helped him notice pronunciation patterns and intonation that were initially confusing. Writing down unfamiliar words and phrases. Later, he practiced saying them aloud, which helped solidify comprehension. Comparing accents. He listened to the same sentence spoken in American, British, and Australian English to train his ear for differences in pronunciation and rhythm. He also joined online discussion groups where people spoke with a variety of accents. At first, he missed a lot, but focusing on keywords and context allowed him to follow the gist. He gradually became better at filling in missing words using context, even when the accent was unfamiliar. A particularly fun challenge came from Australian English, where the speech was fast and informal. Alex could catch phrases like g'day, hello, no worries, it's okay, and arvo, afternoon, but understanding full sentences required careful attention. By replaying videos and shadowing the speakers, Alex trained his brain to recognize common reductions and slang. The most important lesson Alex learned was that accents are not a barrier, they are variations to adapt to. Understanding different accents requires patience, exposure, and an open mind. By listening actively and repeatedly, he realized that his comprehension was expanding, not just his vocabulary. By the end of this stage, Alex could follow conversations with speakers from multiple English-speaking countries. While some words were still challenging, he could extract meaning, respond naturally, and even enjoy the richness of regional differences. In his journal, Alex wrote, "Accents used to confuse me, but now I see them as puzzles I can solve. The more I listen, the more familiar they become. Different accents are just another part of learning English." With his ears now trained to different accents, Alex was ready for a new listening challenge, understanding fast, idiomatic, and culturally nuanced English in movies, news, and real-life situations, where meaning is sometimes implied rather than stated directly. After mastering different accents, Alex's listening journey reached a new level, understanding subtle meanings, implied ideas, and cultural nuances. By now, he could follow conversations, podcasts, and TV shows in various accents, but he realized that real fluency required more than just hearing words. It required interpreting meaning behind the words. Alex started with movies and TV shows aimed at native speakers. He noticed that people often implied things without saying them directly. For example, a character might say, "It's getting late," which wasn't just a statement about time, it often meant, "We should go now." At first, Alex took such phrases literally, missing the implied meaning. To improve, he applied several strategies. Contextual prediction. Alex paid attention to setting, tone, and body language. By observing how characters moved, their facial expressions, and the situation, he could infer the intended meaning even when it wasn't explicitly stated. Idioms and phrases. He kept a notebook of idiomatic expressions and common cultural phrases, like, "break the ice," or "spill the beans," and reviewed them regularly. Understanding these made conversations and media much clearer. Asking questions and confirming understanding. In conversations with friends or language partners, he practiced paraphrasing. "So, you mean that?" This ensured he grasped implied meaning without needing every single word. Alex also explored news broadcasts and talk shows, which required understanding fast, nuanced speech. Anchors often use subtle emphasis, tone, and culturally specific references. At first, Alex struggled, but he started taking notes, summarizing main ideas, and identifying key opinions. Over time, he could understand arguments, jokes, and implied opinions, even if some words were unfamiliar. A major breakthrough occurred during a conversation with his language partner, Mia. She said jokingly, "Well, if we don't leave soon, the bus will leave us behind." Alex initially froze, thinking about the words literally. Then he realized from her tone and gesture that she was warning him playfully. He laughed and replied appropriately. This moment taught him that listening for implied meaning requires attention to tone, context, and emotion. Alex also practiced shadowing nuanced conversations. He repeated phrases, mimicked intonation, and tried to match the rhythm of native speakers. This improved both his listening comprehension and his own spoken fluency, making him more comfortable in fast, nuanced exchanges. By the end of this stage, Alex could follow English conversations that included jokes, sarcasm, and subtle implications. He realized that listening isn't just about words, it's about connecting sounds, context, and culture to understand the speaker's true intent. His journal reflected his excitement. "I can now understand implied meanings and jokes. English is not just words, it's culture, emotion, and context. I feel closer to speaking and thinking like a native speaker." With months of practice behind him, Alex was ready for the ultimate test of his listening skills, using them in immersive, real-world situations. He decided to attend a local international meetup, where people from different countries spoke English naturally, at varying speeds, and with different accents. Walking into the event, Alex felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The room was bustling with conversations, overlapping voices, laughter, and background music created a noisy, dynamic environment. This was exactly the kind of real-life challenge he had been preparing for. At first, it was overwhelming. Multiple people were talking at once, accents varied, and idioms flew around. But Alex remembered all the strategies he had learned over the months. Focus on keywords and context. He could identify the main topics of conversations: travel, work, hobbies, language learning. Observe tone and body language. Nonverbal cues helped him understand emotions and intentions, even if some words were unclear. Ask for clarification and paraphrase. Phrases like, "Could you explain that?" or, "So you mean?" kept conversations flowing. Predict and infer meaning. Using context and experience, he could anticipate what people were likely to say next. Alex joined a group discussing travel experiences. A man with a strong Scottish accent spoke rapidly about a hiking trip in the Highlands. At first, Alex could catch only fragments: mountains, fog, amazing, challenge. But by focusing on intonation and repeated keywords, he understood the story and even asked questions. "Did you hike every day? Was it difficult?" The man smiled and elaborated, and Alex could follow the entire narrative. Next, Alex participated in a casual networking game where participants shared hobbies. Some people used slang, idioms, and jokes he hadn't heard before. Rather than feeling lost, Alex applied his learned skills. He asked clarifying questions, inferred meaning from context, and used active listening techniques like summarizing and reflecting. A particularly rewarding moment came when someone made a joke in British English. "I tried cooking a curry, and it was a complete disaster." Alex immediately understood the humor from context, tone, and shared cultural knowledge. He laughed and responded appropriately, realizing he could now follow and participate in real-time, culturally nuanced conversations. By the end of the evening, Alex felt a profound sense of achievement. He had navigated multiple overlapping conversations, understood different accents, caught implied meanings, and responded naturally. His listening skills were no longer limited to controlled environments. They had become adaptive, flexible, and confident. In his journal, Alex wrote, "Tonight I listened, understood, and engaged in real English conversations with people from all over the world. I didn't understand everything, but I followed the ideas, jokes, and emotions. Listening is now part of how I connect with others, not just a skill I practice." Alex's journey had reached a high point, real-world listening mastery. He had transformed from someone overwhelmed by English speech into someone capable of understanding, interpreting, and responding confidently in almost any situation. Alex's journey had come full circle. From the first tentative steps of listening to slow English at home to engaging confidently in immersive, real-world conversations, he had transformed his listening skills, and with them, his confidence. Reflecting on the months of effort, he identified several key lessons that anyone can apply to improve English listening. 1. Consistency is crucial. Alex practiced listening every day, even in small doses. Short, regular sessions built his brain's ability to process English sounds naturally, without overwhelming himself. 2. Start simple, then increase complexity. He began with slow podcasts and transcripts, moved to real conversations, and gradually tackled fast, idiomatic, and accented English. This step-by-step progression allowed him to build confidence without frustration. 3. Active listening is more effective than passive hearing. Writing down keywords, summarizing content, asking questions, and reflecting on conversations made Alex an active participant, not just a listener. Active listening accelerated his comprehension and retention. 4. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. Alex stumbled over phrases, misinterpreted idioms, and sometimes didn't understand jokes. Each mistake taught him something new and strengthened his listening resilience. 5. Use context, tone, and body language. Words are only part of communication. Observing gestures, facial expressions, and intonation helped Alex understand implied meanings and subtle cues that words alone could not convey. 6. Exposure to variety is essential. By listening to different accents, speech rates, and cultural contexts, Alex trained his ears to adapt. This flexibility allowed him to understand almost any English speaker. 7. Listening and speaking reinforce each other. Engaging in conversation while listening helped Alex internalize patterns, pronunciation, and flow. Listening without speaking is practice. Speaking without listening is limited. Together, they create fluency and confidence. 8. Patience and persistence pay off. Real improvement doesn't happen overnight. Alex's story shows that consistent effort, practice, and perseverance lead to real, lasting progress. By the end of his journey, Alex not only understood English more easily but also felt confident engaging in conversations, watching shows, listening to podcasts, and navigating real-life situations. Listening had become a skill that empowered him to connect with others, explore opportunities, and enjoy English without fear or hesitation. For anyone striving to improve listening skills, Alex's story offers a clear roadmap. Start simple, practice consistently, listen actively, embrace variety, and never fear mistakes. Every word heard, every conversation joined, and every moment spent listening is a step toward mastery. Alex's final reflection in his journal summarized the essence of his journey. Listening is more than understanding words, it's understanding people, context, and culture. With patience and practice, anyone can boost their confidence and truly enjoy the richness of English communication. The journey begins with your first intentional listening session. Like Alex, start small, stay consistent, and gradually immerse yourself in real English. Each step builds not just comprehension, but confidence, connection, and curiosity. The next conversation you hear could be the moment where your listening transforms from a challenge into a powerful tool for understanding, learning, and connecting with the world.